I already called her have fun in juvie.
Ah.
And then there was the crying emoji, then the spewing emoji.
Yep.
So anyway, up until 2 years ago, the app allowed users as young as 13, which is 13, Facebook's minimum age requirement to join up and use the service. Now, I want to ask all our Burble listeners out there, okay, give us your feedback via the website, theburble.com.au, or our Facebook page, facebook.com/theburbleau. Now, would you be grossed out if this happened to you? Because recently a 69-year-old man is battling to get his legal age changed so he'll do better on Tinder.
We talked about that.
Yes, I understand that. But did you know now that the Northern Territory are likely to now pass legislation allowing you to change your age legally?
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
So technically you could be, say, a 12-year-old girl wanting to change your age up to 18. How is that going to work up there?
Oh, that's a legal minefield.
That's exactly right.
No, I don't even want to know.
Now, Tinder,
that's just nasty.
Tinder now has fueled a rise in female sex addicts. So here are 10 signs that you have a problem. 10 signs that you've got a problem with sex and you're on Tinder, okay? So this is
first problem.
What, sorry?
Being on Tinder.
Being on Tinder. Okay. Here are the signs that include that you are becoming a sex addict. Becoming sexually or emotionally involved with people that you don't know well. Well, that's the whole platform for Tinder, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I mean, you're not going to get on Tinder and going, I want a coffee date, even though some people will treat it that way. Coffee date seems more like the high-class ones they advertise on TV, like, want a better class of match.
Oh, yeah.
Join the royal class or velvet.
Sugardaddies.com.
Well, no, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah, same story.
Another sign includes staying in and returning to destructive relationships.
Well, I think that's been a thing since before Tinder. I got to say, and I'm not generalising.
But I don't understand that. So staying in and returning to destructive relationships is the coitus that good?
Because he's got a 10-inch.
But he's Ron Jeremy's young cousin.
Exactly.
Is that what it's?
I think so. That's not cool.
Compulsively jumping from one relationship to the next, or sleeping with or being involved with more than one person at a time. Well, that just sums it up.
That's just being greedy.
That is just being greedy.
It is.
That's an addiction to an addiction to as far as I'm concerned. How about this as confusing sexual attraction with love?
Oh.
I really, really love her breasts. I'm in love with her. Is it the breasts you love, or is it the...
I'm going to go with the tits.
Okay.
There you go.
Or is it the fork, or is it... or is it the person?
It's the person.
It should be the person.
It should be.
Feeling that you're not good enough when you're alone. So do you find that you're inadequate being on your own?
No, I don't, actually.
You don't?
No.
Do you remember those experiences, though, or did they ask you to leave the news agency and put the magazine down?
Yeah, well, why, if you've taken it out of the wrapper, you've bought it.
Yes, don't dog-ear the books. I can't sell them. Sexualizing stress or guilt or loneliness. Now, sexualizing loneliness means it's just to shut all the doors, shut all the windows, go for the FAP. Is that right?
Get the 5D cell batteries.
Flick the bean.
Yep.
Okay.
You turn that on.
What about sexualizing anger? How do you sexualize anger?
You have a hate. Haven't you ever done that before?
No.
Oh, neither have I.
And sexualizing shame, so I can understand that one. You know, those poor people that don't own housing that are in the inner city, just sit there on a park bench waiting to be arrested.
Yep.
Whilst they're...
Jono's got his hands up her pants.
Using sex to manipulate... Isn't that the taxation department?
Yeah.
Using sex to manipulate others.
Well, then the advertising industry is a sexual addict.
Well, that's true. But also, I would imagine using sex to manipulate others means it's sort of the withdrawal of sex.
Well, yeah.
Like honey, mow the lawn, or...
You ain't getting no nookie.
There'll be no snuggles. Getting caught up in a romantic or sexual fantasies. Now, that could become messy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, especially if you get caught up in someone else's fantasy and you're not meant to be there.
Yeah, no, but then there's also pressure as well where you're like, maybe a couple want to ask a friend to...
Oh, right. Phone a friend kind of deal.
You phone a friend.
Put the keys in the bowl.
Attaching yourself with people who are emotionally unavailable. Now,
I've been emotionally unavailable since 1991.
Yeah, but when he come up to you, like, you don't have like a Microsoft Outlook thing that says out of office for auto reply? I'm emotionally unavailable. avoiding physical, sexual, emotional intimacy for fear of being vulnerable.
Well, I suppose you're very vulnerable, really, aren't you? Sorry, I don't mean to be nasty, ladies, but if you blokes are like, that's your most vulnerable. Like, that doesn't mean you're a sex addict. It means you're about to get laid. Doesn't it?
No, in the animal world, I think they call that presenting.
Yeah, as long as you're not a spider, because I'll bite your head off.
How does that work with praying mantises then?
Oh, no, the bloke gets in there, he does his business, and then she just gone. It's like the two praying mantises. You heard about this, haven't you?
No.
They were at a bar, and one praying mantis looks at the other and he goes, "Oh shit, 10 o'clock. I told the missus I'd be home at 9:30." And the other bloke goes, "Blugger, just stay and have another one. She's going to bite your head off when you get home anyway."
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
This is where it's all going pretty much, okay? Because we've killed this planet. We need to get off it. We need to, we're looking at Mars, even though I think that we probably inhabited Mars years ago, killed it, and then we went, oh, but what about next door? We'll move next door because the grass is greener over there. And we came here. In the interest of space, which is now hotting up, because I think they really hit peak space in maybe the 80s and 90s, you know what I mean? I mean, they did land on the moon, but nowadays there is a problem with the International Space Station. Not only is it being seen as kind of obsolete, and that thing's probably going to fall out of orbit in the next 40 years or so, I think. Probably. All that millions of dollars down the drain.
It's been up there a while, though.
It has been up there for a while, but scientists have discovered that there is a thriving ecosystem of infectious organisms aboard the International Space Station. They found 5 different varieties of Enterobacter, which is similar to bugs found in hospitals down there on Earth. Now, have you actually seen what the toilet looks like on the International Space Station?
I have. It's basically a vacuum that you attach to your nether regions, and it sucks the waste out of you and spits it out into space as frozen little shit crystals.
Yes, exactly right. Or they have bags that are next to you in case a blob of liquid flies up and you've got to catch it. It apparently is... Now, look, we've been to festivals, we've been to motorsport, and you know what one of those portaloos are like in the hot sun.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
They're nasty.
Well, the wing that they have the shitter in up in space...
Ooh.
The wing that they have the shitter in is apparently the most pungent area on the space station.
And it's a really thin atmosphere, so it's mostly oxygen. There's not much nitrogen or any of the other normal stuff you get down here on Earth. Yep. So it's really hard to smell stuff in space.
But you can still whiff it.
You can still whiff this. So it must be pretty ordinary.
It's feared that some of this bacteria, right, could be drug resistant, meaning that they could pose more of a threat to astronauts because traditional treatments aren't going to work properly. Now, I'm really interested to see whether or not how quick this organism evolves in space. All this reminds me of is Alien, the movie. We'll see whether or not they're going to have this thing running around the ship and how they deal with it and whatnot, which always confused me with those anti-gravity or the gravity adjusters they have in these ships. They're in space, yet there's gravity.
Yeah, but they've got some weird-ass technology that makes gravity.
Such a lie.
Well, we can do it. We've just got to make it spin. But that's very, very technical, and this is not a science podcast by any means.
No, but they say scientists are saying it's important to understand that the strains found on the International Space Station aren't virulent, which means that they're not an active threat to human health, but it is something to be monitored. Now, they've said that in the past, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's not going to hurt you, you're fine.
Yeah, Justin Bieber's not going to become a star. We always trust the scientists, but... This sort of stuff is a little bit worrying since, they've evolved in space and it's all this new kind of gear and it's not so much what's going on in the space station, it's when the dudes come back home. What do? Do they get them into a sort of booth and delouse them, like in the old movies?
Well, don't they do that anyway?
Yeah, there's a protocol.
They do that anyway, when they come off, they've got anti-radiation and all that kind of thing. That's what they do.
Yeah, they put them into, quarantine for a little while as well to make sure the bugs haven't hitched a ride home. But, I mean, NASA's got a couple of outs with this one, realistically. If it does...
they just push a button and still...
It just falls into the atmosphere and burns up like the old Mir space station did.
Yeah.
Done. No, there. But look, I think the question that needs to be asked, though, with all this bacteria up there is when did Macca's get a franchise in space?
I'm surprised there's not an outlet near
touchscreen.
the Sea of Tranquility on the moon.
Oh, there will be soon.
That'll be the first Macca's. Like, you remember the first Macca's in Australia was in Yagoona in Sydney. No, it'll be in the Sea of Tranquility.
Yeah.
Next to their supposed landing site from the 60s. NASA really need to thank Stanley Kubrick, don't they?
Oh, look, I'm not even going to get into that.
You believe they landed there?
I think we went to the moon maybe once.
Maybe once. Well, the Russians reckon they went there too.
Yeah, they reckon.
Now the Chinese and the Indians want to go too.
Oh, now
so next to the Macca's, there'll be a 7-Eleven.
Loose talk, even looser opinions. The Burble.
Hey, Benny.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Right.
How much Lego have you digested in your life?
Oh man, Lego.
Yeah.
See, I like my intestine lining. I want to tear it out with Lego.
Oh, surely you've like swallowed a piece of Lego or something when you were a kid.
No, I can't remember doing that.
Did you stick it up your nose or in your ear? Like little.
I don't know.
Lego men heads, you know.
Where are you going with this?
Well, so scientists. Now, we've talked about scientists a fair bit this episode.
Yeah.
I'm really liking where we're going with the whole highbrow kind of thing. Scientists now have got a grant to eat Lego.
You what now?
Yeah, they're eating Lego.
Hang on, a couple of episodes ago we were talking about how they're saying that females get addicted to marijuana more.
Yeah.
And they sustain longer orgasms and all that kind of thing after having a chuff.
Yep.
You're now telling me that scientists have gotten a grant to find out how long it takes for Lego to digest. What, as soon as they pop it in, they're hitting a stopwatch?
Kinda, yeah.
Who at the end is fishing through the brownie?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But basically, so 6 paediatricians, Benny, have eaten Lego heads. So what their outcome is they want to tell parents how long they can typically wait before they have to go sifting through the output of the child to find the piece of Lego.
Legos, like, those toys that they have, like, you know, 3 and under, 4 and under, all that kind of thing. But Lego is still kind of small. Do they have, like, multiple warnings on the box? I haven't played with Lego for donkeys.
Haven't you?
No.
I got some Star Wars Lego. It's pretty cool.
Oh, my
but no,
yeah, but you're a child, though.
Yeah, I love me Lego. But so these 6 doctors wanted to see how long it'd take for a Lego head to pass through.
Right.
And out the other end.
Mm-hmm. So how long, mate? How long?
How long? Well, they actually came up with a couple of scales and a couple of different things to measure how long it went for. So what they did is they got themselves a couple of scales.
Right.
Okay. And they basically ranked things. And the first thing they ranked it with was a scale called the Stool Hardness and Transit Scale.
Yep.
Or the SHAT scale.
Now you're making this up.
No, I'm really not.
You're making this up.
Well,
this
come
is
on,
Geo.
you're a doctor and you're looking after kids with cancer and stuff every day. You need a bit of a laugh, don't you?
Right.
And you need to get paid for it as
so,
well.
what, let me guess that they came up with something else?
Yeah, indeed they did. And so they also measured how long it would take for the head to pass through.
Right.
And they gave themselves a found and retrieved time.
Yeah.
And
fart.
Yeah, it was a fart score.
So.
It was a fart score. So basically, they found that their fart scores varied
Yep.
between about 1.1 and about 3.5 days, with the average being about 1.71 days for the toy to go from top to bottom. Now, one of the guys, though, the head never came out.
So he's walking around with some poor Lego head inside of him.
Yeah, so they're not really sure whether he just missed it when he was sifting through his shat.
Yeah, but you need to understand, though, that different people have different digestive
Well, that's
systems.
why they use 6 of them.
But some people carry a lot more fecal paste inside of them.
Yeah, that's what the shat score was for. That was the stool hardness and tensile.
Yeah, I understand that, but like, you know, some people really need to just bowl on over to the colonic clinic.
Or get some Special K.
Yeah, but no, that's fine. But like, nothing like there's. I wouldn't know, by the way. I'm just saying this is like you run into people who've been down the colonic road,
right?
And they say there's nothing more invigorating than a colonic.
Well,
and I bet you though, like, wouldn't it be so embarrassing for one of those researchers to find other things that he's swallowed? Do you know what I mean?
Like
coins, like, you know, button-sized batteries, like
pen lids,
yeah, other Lego heads. What else could he have swallowed? You know, he wanted to go to Mallorca for the weekend. He's flown out of Heathrow. Maybe there's a little baggie there, just stuck in there. You know what I mean? Just stuck in the paste into the wall, sort of like when Alien. We were talking about Alien before. Capture a human, and they're going to use the to feed off and spawn other things.
Yeah.
You know, Maccas, stuff like
Very
that.
small touchscreen.